So you can't yell when your son walk out?
You know, the doctor says only the pregnancy test, but, you know, he was like a little one.
The capsule.
Okay.
I took that.
Did you?
Yeah, it's a 5-day regimen. It's a 5-day regimen. You take 3 pills of aluminum, 3 pills for 5 days. See that?
Yeah, that's reason. Like during the.
Well, I had. Yeah. I had to go to the CVS over in Evanston, on Central, Road.
Yeah, that's my argument.
Like not really stands it.
No. Oh, my God.
Allegedly.
Oh.
We're only talking about medical history. It's for the people that
No,
know.
once again, we're set up for recording. We're missing Sharon. So maybe she's coming.
Well, listen, I'm pretty observant, you know, it was 4 months ago. So that.
I gave up.
Yeah, I see that.
Everybody ready? Sean, you're ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Let's do this. It's your party tonight.
Okay. Oh, are you gonna call the meeting?
I am.
Okay.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Seeing in my MacBook at 7:30 on the nose, and we know that Mac products are never incorrect, right? Never, of course not. Thank you, Mr. Jobs. We'll go ahead and we'll begin this meeting. So I'd like to welcome everybody to this meeting of the Village of Skokie Zoning Board of Appeals. The Zoning Board of Appeals is created by the statutes of the state of Illinois and by the ordinances of the Village of Skokie for the purpose of granting proper case relief from the strict terms of our zoning ordinances. The decision of this board to either grant or deny relief will be based upon the evidence presented to it and how that evidence is related to the standards for granting relief. All persons who have an interest in a case, either as a petitioner or as a member of the public, either supporting or opposing the petition, or as an independent witness, will be given a chance to speak on the record and to express his or her points of view. The Zoning Board of Appeals is not a court of law, and therefore we do not follow the strict rules of evidence. However, this hearing will be conducted in such a manner as to hear only competent evidence or statements. Questions as to procedure, interpretation, and of the admissibility of evidence or statements will be ruled upon by Corporation Counsel Tyler Kobelski, and his legal decisions will be binding upon this board. Certain cases require covenant running with the land. This will be prepared and recorded by the Village of Skokie Legal Department, and this is done at the petitioner's expense. Whether or not a covenant is required is a determination to be made by Corporation Counsel at the conclusion of each individual case. If a covenant running with the land is required, it cannot or will not be prepared until our court reporter has returned to the Zoning Board of Appeals a transcript of these proceedings. The Village of Skokie will notify each petitioner when the covenant has been prepared and is ready for signature. No building permits or certificates of occupancy can be issued until the covenant is signed by the petitioner. Should the petition for variation be denied, or should a covenant not be required, the Board of Trustees will authorize a refund of any required fees. Should it be necessary for the petitioner to request a continuance due to lack of preparation, a case continuation fee of 1/2 of the original application fee is due prior to the rehearing date. This request must be made before any testimony begins. All petitioners must receive a vote of the majority of the zoning board present in order to decide any matter under consideration. Our full complement is 9 members. However, tonight's complement is 8 members, making 5 votes necessary to make a determination on a petition. So we have one lone case tonight, 2022-03Z, 9049 Kildare Avenue. The petitioners are present for this, I believe. Okay. And I will ask Corporation Counsel in this matter, has the proper notice been served and notarized?
Notice is proper and correct.
Okay, thank you, Corporation Counsel. Before Commissioner Arden starts with his presentation of the case tonight, we do have our minutes from our previous meeting of March 16th. And let's see, I hope everybody's had a chance to review the minutes, but just as a quick overview, we heard 22-01Z, 4225 Lion Street, and the motion to grant was approved unanimously. And we also heard 2022-02Z, 7525 Lowell Avenue, and the petitioner's request was granted with several recommendations that are noted in the minutes, and it was also passed unanimously. So that being said, if everybody's had a chance to review the minutes, the chair will entertain a motion to review to approve the minutes as presented.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Okay, Commissioner Perlin, thank you very much. Would anybody like to second the motion?
I second the motion.
Commissioner Jacobson, thank you very much. All in favor, a simple voice vote will be fine.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye. Okay, anybody opposed? No, thank you very much. Marlene, thank you as always. All right, great. So we will now go ahead and we will begin the process of hearing the 2022-03Z 9049 Kildare Avenue. If the petitioners or their representatives would like to step up to the podium real quick. Commissioner Arden, the floor is yours. Take it away, Sean.
Thank you. All right, case 2022-03Z, 9049 Kildare Avenue. Aaron Cohen and Ellie Shaffa Bernstein request a variation in order to construct an addition resulting in a floor area ratio of 0.66 rather than the 0.60 maximum as required by sections 118-124.9 of the zoning chapter of the Skokie Village Code in an R1 single-family district. I will now read into the record the petitioner's statement. There is a limitation on the use of the property due to physical, topographical, and geologic features. The current grade is below the threshold to exclude the area of the basement from the FAR calculations. The difference is relatively nominal, which might have been caused by general settlement of the soil adjacent to the house over many years. There are numerous houses of this period and style. That the basement area height is more than 50% below grade. The difference is negatively impacting the ability of the homeowner to develop the property adequately to serve their needs. Without variance, there can be no reasonable use of the property. Currently, there is a single-family home on the site. However, without a variance, the property will not meet the current and future needs of the client. The request is not based solely on economic reasons. The request is not at all based on economic reasons. The property, I'm actually reading the questions and the answers. The property owner did not create the necessity for this variance. The request is the minimum variance necessary to allow reasonable use of the property. The variance is requested to provide minimum living space for the client and their family. The proposal is in keeping with design, scale, and configuration of similar houses in the area. The current grade is below the threshold to exclude the area of the basement from the FAR calculations. The difference is relatively nominal, which might have been caused by general settlement of the soil adjacent to the house over many years. There are numerous houses of this period and style. that the basement area height is more than 50% below grade. Now, if we look over at the staff recommendation, engineering has no comment. The village staff said, based on the proposed findings of fact, they recommend that the request to construct an addition be granted. I visited the site, looks great. I see no reason to deny it. It's beautiful.
Very succinct, Sean, thank you so much. Okay, if I may have the petitioners, please also stand to the podium as well, because we'll get everybody on the record and to ensure that everybody at the podium is representing you properly. So, if I may have Mr. Cohen
Yes,
first?
yes.
And actually, all three of you, if you could all just go ahead and raise your hand. Do you affirm that the testimony you are about to give is true and correct to the best of your knowledge or belief?
I
Please
do.
answer in the affirmative.
Yes.
All right, great. Okay, thank you. Mr. Cohen, would you please go ahead and you're obviously the petitioner in this case, you and your wife Elisheva. So, but it would be fine, just tell us who the gentleman is and that he can indeed represent you on your behalf.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Aaron Cohen.
Okay,
Thank you, everybody, for coming out to see us tonight. Gentleman behind me is Rafi, and he's our architect, and he has permission to speak on our behalf.
okay, very good. Thank you so much. Rafi, please come up. Nice to see you again. I know we've
Thank
seen
you.
you before in these chambers.
Yes,
So,
thank you very
again,
much.
please tell us your name and spell it for the record.
Rafi Arzmanian, I'm a principal at A+C Architects here in Skokie.
Mm-hmm,
I'm also the architect for the project.
okay.
Can tell you a little bit about the project. I mean, there are a certain amount of FAR that is still remaining that we still have and we can use. The case really comes to the unique situation where I'm going to actually make it easy. I'm going to scroll down to that one particular slide that I think tells the story very clearly. Is that if you look at these two houses, in the massing and scale, it's a section, kind of an example, that they are the same. For all practical purposes, if you're looking at it from outside, they're exactly the same. However, this one has a basement that is more than 50% below grade. Therefore, all this area does not count as part of FAR. In our case, that's our case. The basement is less than 50% below grade, and it's still a basement. So that, it's kind of being held against us in that sense that we cannot use that FAR that's here, that's available to this house, and yet it's not available to us. So we're just asking the commission to look at it in that sense, that we're really not asking for a much larger house, that it's gonna have an impact on the neighborhood, light, vent, air, all of those factors. It's just, it's technicality of how things are. So really, that's the gist of the case. The rest of it, I mean, the house, you can see in the neighborhood, I mean, they're all, it's not gonna have a change. It's not really no impact on that. If you look at the design of the house, is very typical of the 1950s houses. We're not proposing, the addition that we are proposing keeps the mansard roof, keeps the same kind of windows, keeps the same language of material and setbacks. So it's really has very, very minimal impact from grade up. It's just a matter of how that basement is interpreted.
Mhm. Yeah, great. And I see you have yet to appear before the Appearance Commission on
I
this?
have not.
Okay.
We felt that was important for us to appear in front of you first,
Okay,
and then we would go to Appearance Commission.
all right, great. All right, thank you so much, Rafi. Anybody have any questions for the petitioners? Commissioner Salovey?
Hi, could you describe the, are you building an addition? I'm unclear about what you're doing.
Yes, so right now there is a portion of the building that it's a one-story garage parking here. So we're proposing to add to this area, which is on the side of the house against the neighbor. So if I go to a floor plan, so it's in the front, this is the area that's being added to. It's this area here that's being added to. And it's show you the property line. This is the corner. So it's really on the interior side yard side that the addition is being added. Brings it to the same roof line as the rest of the house.
So it will not exceed the existing
No,
roof line?
no.
Right, okay. Good enough, David? All right, good. Anybody else with questions for the petitioner? Commissioner Gupta.
We did a first floor addition last year. It's still under construction, it's being wrapped up. This really affects that second floor. The first floor addition was, there's a very small kitchen. So it was really adding to the kitchen and creating a little bit of eating breakfast area. And on the second floor, it gives us the opportunity to add bedrooms.
Okay. Any other questions for the petitioner or for Rafi, the architect? No? So just to sum up real quick, you're building up straight up on top of the existing walls
Correct.
of the garage?
Correct.
So, right, so this doesn't interfere with any side yard requirements, or the only thing that we're talking about here is the floor area ratio, which you're put in an inconvenient situation because of a technicality.
Right, correct.
So, hey, staff, is this something that could be resolved in the future perhaps with,
Potentially, when the floor area ratio regulations went into effect, I believe in the late 90s, a few years before I started, there had to be a threshold or a point where they would count lower levels. And if it was proposed, and my understanding was proposed, and it was anything in the past, anything that's 50% above grade would count. Now, over the years, as stated in the staff report, we've seen very similar homes, and one house has a basement that's, the floor level of the basement, it's, 6-8 inches lower than another home, and that lower level doesn't count, where the other home, it would count. So, like Rafi said, it's, the scaling is staying the same. You're not noticing anything different, where when the regs were put into effect, the intent was the bulk of the building on the property. The buildings were going in at the maximum 40% building coverage, and people then were building complete full second floors on top of that. And so with the floor area ratio, and it would be a true floor area ratio of 80% of the lot area. Where in those cases, clearly it was a full first floor above grade, full second floor, all above grade, and you were looking at 80% of the lot area you would see on the building. In this case, you have one floor level that counts, that, again, due to just the height inside the level, counts towards the floor area ratio. So, potentially there could be a change, or whether part of it's counted, or it only counts if it's a higher percent above grade. I think in this case, it ended up being about 65% of the floors above grade, where, if you build a house that's one step down, do you want to take that out of the floor area ratio? Probably not, because you'll still see a clear majority of that level above grade. So, there might be some discussions in the future, but for now, it's the code. But this is a somewhat unique circumstance.
which is why we're all here tonight, yeah, exactly.
Like to-
And then actually, I have one last question for you, Brian. Since this is, we're talking 6.0 maximum, and we're hearing about the variation being 0.66, that's like 10%. This case won't have to be brought forth to the village board for final approval, will it?
No, not for floor area ratio. Height requirements over a certain threshold have to go to the board, not floor area ratio.
Oh, okay. I thought for some reason it was like if it was 10% or greater.
Building height and maybe one other requirement, but building height for sure, if it's, I believe it's over the 10% threshold, then go to the board.
Okay, so we're the final determining
Correct.
body for this. Great.
Correct.
That's good. Glad to hear that. All right, good. Any other questions for the petitioner? or-
Just a quick comment. So first of all, Rafi, I agree, this is a technicality in this case, and Brian, as always, you've done an excellent job giving the history and the reasons that we're here. And it just made me think of something that I'll throw out there for future consideration with this, is that perhaps the rule says 50% below grade, you don't count any of it, and then a sliding scale as you increase the amount above grade by more than 50% in terms of what portion is counted.
Yeah, I think there's some possibility for some other options out there. It'd have to be a little bit of a comprehensive look at it
Yeah.
and, you know,
Yeah, that would be one way of avoiding an abrupt binary sort of result. You count the whole thing, you don't count the whole thing, kind of thing. Yeah.
All right, good. Good. All right, good. Any other questions for the petitioner or the architect? All right, I just have one last question. How long have you folks lived in the residence?
We bought our house in September of 2019, and we moved right before COVID.
Yeah, oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to Skokie.
Thank you. It
If
worked
you,
out perfectly. We had a backyard for our children, so.
yeah, all right, that's good. Yeah, that's kismet as far as that's all concerned. All right, great. Well, if there's no other questions or comments, then the board will entertain a motion.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I propose the following findings of fact in the granting of a variation to the petitioner as follows: that Aaron Cohen and Ellie Shava Bernstein are the owners of the lot described in case number 2022-03Z for the property located at 9049 Kildare Avenue, Skokie, Cook County, Illinois. That said lot is a plotted lot of record and is abutted by single-family dwellings on the north and south. That a determination is made in which the petitioner's request is consistent with the majority of the findings of fact as stated in the Village of Skokie zoning chapter. I therefore propose the following variances be granted to the petitioner for giving failure to comply with the requirements of the zoning ordinance of the Village of Skokie as amended as to floor area ratio, that the petitioner be granted the variance to construct an addition resulting in a floor to area ratio of 0.66 rather than the 0.6 maximum as required by section 118-124-9 of the Skokie zoning chapter of the Skokie Village Code in an R1 single-family district, that all other codes and ordinances of the Village of Skokie shall be fully and strictly complied with.
All right, very good. I think that was almost a record time. Almost sounded like the old FedEx commercial with the guy going like that. But that's good, Sean. Thank you so much. We have a motion to grant.
Second.
All right, Commissioner Kirkpatrick seconds the motion. So the chair will go ahead and call the roll. Commissioner Salovey.
Aye.
All right, Commissioner Gupta.
Aye.
Commissioner Kirkpatrick.
Aye.
Okay, Commissioner Jacobson.
Aye.
Commissioner Perlin.
Yes.
Nick is not here. Commissioner Arden.
Aye.
Commissioner Pollock.
Aye.
All right, and the chair will vote aye. So in the matter of 2022-03Z, the motion to grant the variation has been approved unanimously. Congratulations. And from here on out, we'll ask Corporation Counsel what you need to know.
We will prepare the covenant for your signatures. It should be ready hopefully within a few weeks, but you'll still need to go before appearance before they're gonna issue any permits, I'm assuming.
yeah, you could apply for, I'm assuming, the September Appearance Commission if you want to, and after they hear it and if they approve it, apply for building permit. We can't issue the permit until the covenant's signed.
All right, great. Okay, all right, we have our business with that out of the way. Apparently, we do not have a meeting on September 7th. Does staff,
Correct.
does staff have any idea if we will have a meeting on September 21st?
Most likely not.
Most likely not, okay, but you will. All right, yeah, good night, folks. All right, good luck with your,
Thank you.
yeah, with your project. Okay. Okay, but you will let us know for sure.
Certainly will.
All right, awesome. And again, I'd like to welcome Commissioner Pollock to his first meeting after being appointed to the board, for months ago? So, yeah, late March, there you go. Okay. So if there's no other business, then this meeting of the Village of Skokie Zoning Board of Appeals is adjourned. Thank you so much.
I want all the